Well, I just got off the phone with a friend living in northern North Dakota near the Canadian border. He said that since early this morning, the snow has been nearly waist high and is still falling. Temperature is dropping way below zero, and the north wind is increasing to near gale force. His wife has done nothing but look through the kitchen window and just stare. He said that if it gets much worse, he may have to let her in. Oh, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Man, it's going to take me 15 years doing the show at 8 o'clock. It's as hard not to say good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Darryl Beasley. Welcome back to another edition of Let's Talk Real Estate. We have got a busy show today. You're going to have to listen extremely fast today. Got Chris Burke, author of the national selling book, Veterans VA Loans. And we'll be talking about the many benefits of VA loans, things that maybe 90% of people do not know, things you can do with a VA mortgage, refinancing, cash out, different things on that. And then we've got a number of guests to discuss on the flooding situation, trying to get my friend David McKee in Baton Rouge, right in the middle of all that mess in Baton Rouge, tell us kind of what's going on. Mike LeGrew, one of our own, who is from Denham Springs, is there. We'll talk a little bit about Denham Springs and a few local people that are taking truckload after truckload of supplies to that area. It is amazing, the support and the help. But great show today. Stay right with us. We'll be right back.
Looking for someone to make your next home loan? Start with someone you can trust. Susie Dartlin at Iberia Bank Mortgage Company, one of the most experienced lenders throughout Northeast Louisiana, knowledgeable in all types of mortgages, including FHA, rural development, VA, and conventional mortgages. Iberia Bank Mortgage processes, underwrites, and closes all loans right here in Monroe, Louisiana. Start your process with one of the most respected lenders in our market, Susie Dartlin and Iberia Mortgage. Call 327-3317. Equal housing lender, NMLS 362451. All loans subject to approval, including credit approval. Some restrictions may apply. Other programs available. Program conditions subject to change without notice. Susie Dartlin, NMLS 419431. Coldwell Banker Group 1 Realty and Iberia Bank Mortgage are separate independent entities. Fox Family Electric, the company you've trusted for over 35 years for all your electrical needs. Their proven experience and trusted customers include many churches, hundreds of residential homes, and commercial properties throughout Northeast Louisiana. Fox Family Electric loves the small jobs too, from changing light bulbs to light switches. They're there for all your needs, including after-hour emergency service. Fox Family Electric, experience, trust, and committed to what's best for you, the customer. Call David Fox at 318-330-9966. That's 318-330-9966.
We're experiencing some extremely hot weather this summer. Sharon Uchley at Coldwell Banker Group 1 Realty specializes in water-related properties and would love to assist you in finding a cool property to enjoy. Whether it's lakefront property like Darbone, Caney, or Horseshoe, swimming pools, ponds, or even waterfalls, call or text Sharon on her anytime cell phone, 372-7778. That's 372-7778. And let her take you on a sea cruise of available properties. Coldwell Banker Group 1 Realty, 362-0007. Each office independently owned and operated.
Have you ever had a friend or family member, or have you ever bought a house where everything goes wrong on the last day? This is Justin Underwood of Movement Mortgage, and my team and I are right here in Monroe, Louisiana, and we want to take the stress and worries out of your home buying experience. Movement Mortgage has designed our entire loan process to take those stresses and hassles away. We work with first-time home buyers, military, and have various down payment options. Give my team and I a call. We are here for you. I'm Justin Underwood with Movement Mortgage. We want to bring you home faster. Call us at 318-805-2811. That's 318-805-2811.
Movement Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 39179. Justin Underwood, MLS ID 1122476. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
I'm Darryl Beasley, and welcome back to Let's Talk Real Estate. Chris, good evening.
Hey, Darryl, how are you?
Doing fine. How are you doing today?
Not too bad. Thanks so much for having me.
No problem. Chris Burke, the Director of Education for Veterans United Home Loans, and author of the book on VA loans. Analysis articles appeared on the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, USA Today, ABC News, CBS, Fox Business, Military.com. Pretty good. You know what you're doing, don't you?
I try to stay busy, that's for sure.
You know, Chris, I actually bought your book. I was in a conference in, where the heck was that at? California, Las Vegas, somewhere, and ran across your book and bought it. I have kept it. Of other things I do, I own a real estate franchise with 130 agents here, Coldwell Banker Group 1 Realty, and we do a lot of training. I had authored a book myself, Everything About Home Loans, that sold nationally back in 1990, I think it was, 91. A few things have changed since then.
Absolutely, but it's great to talk with a fellow author, and it means a great deal that you have, and I would love to, I just updated actually for the 2016 edition. I would love to send you and anyone who's interested a free copy. Just go to veteransunited.com/book, and I will happily send you as many copies as you'd like. Our goal is to just educate as many veterans, military members, and their families as possible about this incredibly hard-earned benefit.
Right, and I agree too. On my show in the past, when I'm around the community, it seems to me that the VA mortgage is somewhat forgotten. People don't realize the benefit, the things that they can do. Now, as a veteran myself, I have used my VA mortgage on 2 occasions, and actually in the process of doing an interest rate reduction loan too. But let's start with who's eligible for a VA mortgage.
Yeah, well, let me start by thanking you for your service to our country. If you've millions, and it's important to say this because you're right, so many people who've served our country don't know they have access to what, quite honestly, and I know it's hard for me to be objective, I work for the nation's largest VA lender, but you talk to real estate agents across the country, this is pound for pound probably the most powerful mortgage product on the market, and it should be. It's a benefit for those who have served our country. There are millions of veterans in this country who are eligible for a VA loan right now, and about 1 in 3 home-buying veterans don't even know this program exists.
Right.
So if you've served generally 90 consecutive days on active duty during wartime, 181 days during peacetime, or 6 years in the Guard or Reserve, you're likely eligible for this benefit. Now, it doesn't mean that it's automatically the best loan product for you, but for so many people who have served our country or who are currently serving our country, you look at the benefits that this loan offers, and it's hands down the most financially beneficial product out there.
Mm-hmm. The benefits of the VA mortgage?
I mean, I know you know all too well that the signature benefit of this program is the ability to purchase with no money down. Mm-hmm. So, you know, on a typical FHA loan or a conventional loan, you're looking at a 3.5% or 5%. So on a $200,000 home purchase, let's say, that's $7,000 or $10,000 that an active duty service member at Fort Benning or somebody who's deployed overseas or a veteran or military family has to come up with out of pocket, spend years most likely saving for that down payment.
Right.
They don't have to worry about that for a VA loan. Their certificate of eligibility, their service to our country, takes the place of that need for a down payment. At the same time, VA homeowners don't pay for any sort of mortgage insurance, and that's a cost that $200,000 mortgage, that FHA buyer right now is paying about $140 a month just for mortgage insurance. It's eating into their purchasing power. More relaxed and forgiving credit standards and credit requirements. It's a benefit program. It's aimed to help those who've served our country really get a level playing field when it comes to the economy and the housing market. One thing that I think a lot of people, especially if you haven't been around this product lately, might not be aware of is VA loans have had the lowest average interest rate on the market month in, month out for the last 2 years and counting. So not only are you purchasing with no money down and not having to pay mortgage insurance, you're probably getting a lower interest rate, or you're at least in the running for as low, if not lower, interest rate than you'd get on a conventional loan with a 20% down payment.
You know, I can't remember some loans, conventionals are going to risk-based, where the better your credit score, the better your rate is. Is VA risk-based, or is just the same rate for everybody?
So the VA does not, and it's important because this is misunderstood in a lot of circles, the VA doesn't make home loans. They really just insure them on behalf of qualified veterans, and it's up to lenders to really decide what their standards are. The VA says we don't need to see a credit score. We're not looking for a number. We want to make sure that veterans are a satisfactory credit risk. And so in most cases, and it's going to vary by lender, but right now most VA lenders are looking for a middle FICO of about a 620, which is pretty on par with most other lending products. Might be a little bit higher for conventional, usually around a 660, maybe a little bit lower for an FHA loan. So it's really rooted in making sure that veterans are prepared for the obligation, but it's also much more of a holistic approach at credit and finances. And so veterans who've had a bankruptcy or foreclosure in the past couple of years, they might be ready to bounce back. And this is a program that can let them bounce back, provided they've got the track record over the last 2 years to show that.
Okay, and that's a good point when you talk about the MIP or PMI or that insurance. I did a show a couple of weeks ago, and I have this passion about all those people out there that are paying a couple $100 a month in mortgage insurance, and they've forgotten about it and just making their payment. And if they have that ability to refinance out of that, that's pretty awesome. But certainly a good benefit of VA mortgages. I can't remember, Chris. Does a surviving spouse of a veteran have any eligibility?
They absolutely can. VA backs about 1,200 to 1,500 of these loans every year. Now, it's in certain cases, so it's surviving spouses of those who have been killed in the line of duty, who died as a result of a service-connected disability, or who had a lingering disability for at least a decade that was directly related to their service. And there's only one entity in the country that can decide whether or not someone's eligible for a VA loan, and that's the VA. So it's ultimately going to be up to the VA to determine whether a service member, a veteran, or a spouse is eligible for the benefit. And from there, that spouse is going to go through the same process as any other veteran would in terms of taking a look at their credit, their debt-to-income ratio, and those other financial factors that we have to consider. Okay.
And is there a maximum loan amount?
That's a really great question because it's also one of I think, at the root of a lot of misconceptions about this program. So there isn't. There is not a maximum loan amount when it comes to a VA loan. You could walk in tomorrow and get $1 million VA loan. What there is a limit on is on the VA guarantee, as it's called. Mm-hmm. And so up to a certain point, the VA says you can borrow this much without having to worry about putting a single dollar down. But once you get above that number, once you get above that loan limit, it's going to vary by county. In every county in Louisiana, the limit is the same, and it's the same limit throughout most of the U.S. It's $417,000. So a qualified veteran who's ready to use his or her VA loan benefit, who hasn't used the benefit before and who can afford it, they can purchase up to $417,000 without putting down a dime. Now, if they want to purchase above that, that's when a down payment comes into play. But there is no limit. They can get as much as a lender is willing to extend. And that limit, that $417,000 limit, is actually higher in more expensive real estate markets in the country, which has really helped veterans and their families and active duty service members really keep pace with housing costs in those costlier parts of the country.
Well, you talked about the entitlement and the guarantee. Confusing to some people, but touch on that for a minute.
Boy, it's confusing to a lot of people in the mortgage industry, we've found, too. And, I mean, we could do a whole show just talking about it. It's such an incredibly confusing topic. But essentially, if you served our country, you're eligible for this benefit. The VA says you have an entitlement for this program. And what entitlement really is just it's a dollar amount. It's the amount of insurance that the VA is going to extend, and it's typically about a quarter of the loan amount. And so in most cases, in most counties, so in every county in Louisiana, everybody has $104,250 worth of entitlement, and that's just the loan limit for every county in Louisiana divided by 4 is how VA comes up with that number. But what that entitlement really ends up meaning is that this is not a one-time benefit. This is a benefit that you can use over and over and over again. It's a benefit that you can reuse without having to pay off your first loan. It's a benefit that you can use if you defaulted on your first loan.
95% of people do not know that, do they, Chris?
No, they absolutely don't. And we find so many people who work in the mortgage industry have told veterans and their families, no, I'm sorry, it's a one-and-done deal, or no, I'm sorry, you had a short sale, you can't use this benefit again. There are cases we might be able to help a veteran tomorrow who short-sailed last week. purchase a home using their remaining entitlement. And there are some strange quirks about using your remaining entitlement. There's a minimum loan amount, some other concerns, but you can absolutely use this benefit. If you have a home right now, you're getting ready to PCS to another part of the country, and you want to purchase again at your new duty station, you can use your remaining VA loan entitlement to do that. You had a bankruptcy 3 years ago, you lost your VA loan, you can look to use your remaining VA loan entitlement to purchase again using this benefit. And you can purchase and sell throughout the course of your life as long as you're paying off that loan in full every time.
And even if you don't pay that loan off, if you got to use your VA mortgage for a deal 20 years ago, are there and maybe you sold it on an assumption or something or whatever, can you still are there options to buy another one?
There absolutely are. The VA is going to take a look. They're going to determine your eligibility for the program and issue your certificate of eligibility, and then you can absolutely go from there. But if you use this benefit 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it is a lifelong benefit that you've earned through service and sacrifice to our country. And so it is and one of the most important things that we can say, and we really can't say it enough, is this is something you can look to use over and over again.
I agree with that. If we talk about refinancing, do you see people refinance? Is there, and I don't know, is there a reason to refinance to a VA, or if you have a VA to refinance?
I think there's both. VA refi has exploded, and this program has really exploded in recent years. I mean, it's grown exponentially from 2% of the mortgage market a decade ago to 10% of the mortgage market right now, and refi has really helped drive that. So if you have an active VA loan right now, you touched on it because you've gotten one yourself. You've gotten an interest rate reduction refinance loan or a VA Streamline. It is a low hassle, no frills refi that in some cases you can get without an appraisal, without having to worry about lenders checking your credit score or having you meet a certain credit score benchmark, that is really just focused on helping veterans get a lower mortgage payment or get out of an ARM and get into a fixed rate loan. And so it's an incredibly simplified process that's really geared toward being a benefit. You know, if you don't have a VA loan, if you have a conventional or an FHA loan, you can't use that streamlined process, but there is the VA cash out refinance, which as it sounds, it does allow people who have equity to essentially extract that equity and use it to pay down debt or to help put their kid through college or buy a new Harley, whatever it may be. But it's also the path that if you have an FHA loan, you're tired of paying that $140 a month in mortgage insurance every month. That's the pathway that you would take. You don't have to worry about taking out equity. You can just say, look, I'm tired of paying this. I want to use my benefit to help save that $140, probably more because you're going to likely get a lower interest rate as well, and put it towards something that I can do for my family or for myself.
Right. And that interest rate reduction loan, it's been out there for a while. They must have simplified it a little bit because I started looking at that. I refinanced my VA not too long back, and I started looking at that, made a call, and it was beyond simple. I mean, payments are dropping. My payments are dropping hundreds a month. No cash to do it. No appraisal. And common sense, isn't it? FHA kind of has a similar approach. It's common sense that if VA is guaranteeing it right now, they're already on the hook to guarantee that loan, and all you're doing is improving your loan. Why wouldn't they support it?
Well, and that's really, you mentioned the no cash, which is really important too, because you can finance the closing costs. You're coming to this with no money out of pocket. But that, what you just said too, that's exactly how VA looks at it. That lenders have already taken a look at your credit, your financial situation.
Right.
They know this is a good loan for you, and you're a good fit for the loan. So why wouldn't we make this easy to help you save money?
Now, I'm assuming or guessing this is only owner-occupied only. You can only use the VA to purchase a home that you're going to live in?
So if you're talking about a purchase loan, yeah, there's a focus, and this is the same with FHA loans and with USDA loans. All the government-backed loans are really focused on helping people purchase owner-occupied primary residences that they're going to live in. Now, with VA, you can use this benefit to purchase a multi-unit property. So you could purchase a duplex and live on one side and rent out the other. As long as you're living typically up to a fourplex. So as long as you're living in one of those 4 units, or if it's a duplex, one of those 2 units, you're going to meet that requirement. Yes, with the refi, if you're looking to refi out of a conventional loan, occupancy is going to come into play. And so you're not going to be able to get a VA cash-out refinance on a home that you're not living in as your primary residence. Now, if it's a streamline, that's a different story. If you bought a home, if you were at Fort Benning in Georgia and you moved and you kept that property for years and you rented it out and it was a great source of income and suddenly rates are down and you want to refi, you can look to do that using the streamline, using the interest rate reduction refinance loan, because that doesn't require current occupancy, it just requires previous occupancy. But it is something that lenders are going to ask about, that something lenders are going to think about. They do want to make sure that you are intending to live in this home as your primary residence, and spouses can fulfill this. And we could do another show just about occupancy scenarios because they're so distinct, and different lenders are going to have different guidelines and requirements, but they are going to take a closer look to make sure that you're really fulfilling that.
I have a 10% disability, and then those people that know me assume I have 100% disability, but ladies and gentlemen, it's only 10%, okay? But the one cost, and it's not that it's a negative because it's so much better than other loan programs where you're putting a no down, a minimum down, but you have I think a funding fee or something there, but I think that's waived, right, if there's a disability at all?
It is, and you shouldn't have paid it, and if you did, you need to talk to your lender about seeking a refund from the VA. So the VA funding fee is a charge that goes to the VA. It doesn't go to lenders, and what it does is it helps keep this program running for future generations of military homeowners. One thing that we haven't talked about is how safe this no down payment program is. Despite the fact that 9 in 10 people purchase with no money down, this has been the safest loan on the market in terms of foreclosures since the housing crash. And it's one of the most underreported, undercovered stories to my mind in all of housing.
Interesting.
No one knows this. Everyone thinks it's a risky loan because it's no down payment. It's actually the safest loan on the market, and there's a bunch of reasons why that we don't have time to get into. But people still do default. And when someone defaults on a VA loan, the VA, because of that guarantee, because of that insurance, they have to repay a portion of the loan to the lender. The funding fee is what helps replenish that fund and keep this program going. And not just keep it going, but it keeps this program out of the congressional appropriations process, which is also just, an added benefit to be sure. But if you, if you are receiving compensation for a service-connected disability, you're exempt from paying this fee. If you're a surviving spouse, you're also exempt. And so there can be distinct cases and times when people can absolutely, if there's a disability claim pending at the time of closing, if someone gets disability after closing, they didn't have a claim pending, but it's retroactive to their loan closing. There are a lot of situations where you can seek a refund if you end up at the present having a disability. But it's a fee, and it does, on a $200,000 loan, in most cases, it's going to add, $4,000, $4,300. That's a fee that you can roll into the loan, something you don't have to come up with out of pocket. But it's a cost that you do have to bear, but it's also something that helps ensure that this program keeps going for future generations of military home buyers.
And one last thing, Chris, that jogged my memory of what I think is an advantage that nobody remembers or thinks. VA mortgages, now, they were assumable back, 88 or something without qualifying, but are they not still assumable with qualification of the new buyer?
They are, and that's another huge benefit that both FHA and VA loans have over conventional loans. USDA loans do have some, but it's a little more narrow. But you don't hear a lot of talk about it right now, Darryl. I think part of it is because we've been in this era of historically low interest rates. But if we start to see rates ticking up in the next few years, that's a huge benefit. Someone can come in and instead of having to go out and get a mortgage at a 5 or a 6% interest rate, they might be able to just take over your VA loan and that 3.5% rate that you got 3 or 5 years ago. It's a tremendous benefit, and there's definitely some safeguards that veterans want to have to make sure that they're safeguarding their entitlement, that they're making sure that they're not going to be financially liable for mistakes that happen down the road with the person who assumes their loan. But it is a tremendous benefit that doesn't really get enough coverage.
All right. And, Chris, you've been such a gracious host. And your book, VA Loans, how can somebody get a hold of that?
Please don't buy it. I'm sorry to hear that you did. Like, we didn't write it for people to buy it. We wrote it to just be a resource, and we give away thousands of copies every year. And so just visit veteransunited.com/book, and we'll make sure to get you a book. If you have any questions, whether you're a real estate agent, someone who served our country, you can reach me by email anytime at chris@vu.com.
So veteransunited.com. This book is near 300 pages, and it had sat on my shelf for a while. I have people talking about VAs all the time, my agents, and I just pull it off the shelf and said, I'm going to load this to you, but to bring it back. It is underlined, scratched out, everything else with that book. But, Chris, thank you so much, your knowledge and support of veterans throughout the United States. And we will talk with you again, okay?
Darryl, thank you so much, and thank you again for your service to our country. Have a great night.
All right, Chris, thank you. We're going to go straight to David. David, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, Darryl. How are you?
Yeah, I'm much better than you. My good friend David McKee in Baton Rouge. And David, we're going to forego all of your fantastic titles. The owner of a great company there in Baton Rouge, state president, state this and that and all that. We're going to forego all that. The flooding situation in Baton Rouge. Tell us something about what's going on.
Well, Darryl, I will tell you it is, and you went through it in the springtime up in North Louisiana, but we have seen devastation beyond my imagination here. We are probably, as it ends up with a count, I would not be surprised if we didn't get close to 100,000 homes flooded in the greater Baton Rouge area.
Wow.
Which, as you know, unbelievable. Just this morning they were saying in the newspaper that in East Baton Rouge Parish alone, there are about 53,000 homes that have taken on water and somewhere around 2,000 to 3,000 businesses. So it's pretty devastating.
Beyond catastrophic. Our situation here was unbelievable for us, but I don't think people realize we've had people with truckload to Baton Rouge. Got another one going to Denham Springs in the morning down there, and they come back just unbelievable.
This subdivision's wiped out. So it's not a pretty sight, but I will tell you this, Darryl, when you mentioned that, I cannot tell you how wonderful people have been. Not only across the state, but across the country, and pitching in everything from supplies to donations to relief funds. And it's really been amazing to see neighbor helping neighbor, family member helping family member, and strangers helping strangers.
What was the story you told me your daughter in Shreveport was buying some stuff?
Well, actually, my daughter in Baton Rouge was at a Walmart just a couple of days. I'd worked at a evacuation shelter Sunday before this past Sunday, and one of the needs there were for pillows and blankets. And my daughter has a friend that's in physician's school up in Shreveport, physician's assistant, and some of the students there had sent $300 down to her, or however they do it electronically now, that you have to be, below 25 years old to know all of that. And had sent $300 down, and my daughter and two friends went to Walmart to buy some blankets and pillows to take to the evacuation shelter. And as they walked up and checked out, the total came to $297, and a guy behind them asked them, what was that for? And they said, well, we're taking it to an evacuation shelter. And he immediately pulled his credit card out, slid it through the machine, and said, go get $300 more of supplies.
Wow.
So that's the type thing you saw.
That is absolutely amazing. A lot of these homes did not have flood insurance, right?
Well, the estimation, Darryl, is about 75% of the properties that flooded did not have flood insurance. And, Darryl, the other thing that people need to consider, a lot of them that had flood insurance on their property did not carry content coverage, which the National Flood Insurance Program will cover you up to $100,000, and it typically costs about $100 a year. But so many people did not have that, so their home flooded and they were covered for that, but they lost all their personal belongings, all their furniture and everything, and they weren't covered for that. So that's something people really need to consider when they're looking at flood insurance coverage. David,
where are these people going to go?
Well, I tell you, Darryl, every piece of property, as you can imagine, that is rentable has been rented in the Baton Rouge area, and there are a number of people that are living with family members. They're living with neighbors and anyone that will help and take them in. We still have several thousand that are living in shelters in the Baton Rouge area, and obviously you have to find a place for them because they probably will not have an opportunity to get back in their houses for several months. So that's going to be a challenge as to where you're going to put these displaced people that may not have relatives or friends that can take them in.
Yeah, you know, the upper income tier, you know, they'll just build another house, take it out of savings or whatever. But you take the average blue-collar worker, which is the majority of people, you know, wow, that's an absolute total loss. That's starting all over again.
It really is, and I talked to a lady yesterday who had about 8 feet of water in her house and did not have flood insurance. And she's a young lady that works at a golf club here, and she is basically going to have to walk away from her house. There's no way she can go in and have the money to fix it back up. It's just not going to happen. No.
What are the needs? And again, there's trucks from all over the country. I know coming in daily there. We've got a group of people at our company. We've had at my co-banker office here in West Monroe. We've had Remax trailers there. Keller Williams has brought stuff over. Everybody's just jumped in, but they're taking things down there daily. I think there's a group going down there in the morning bringing things. But what are the remaining needs of people there?
Well, now the supplies are, I think, almost adequate at this point. I don't think it will be adequate going into the future. I'm sure people are still going to need things. And I will tell you, there are some great relief fund areas that are set up, and I'll give you an example with the realtors. Louisiana Realtors has a disaster relief fund set up where people can actually go in and donate to that relief fund, and it's administered by the Louisiana Realtors. So 100% of that money goes to victims of flooding. I would hope some people would investigate some of those relief funds that they can actually give a monetary donation.
They're always,
folks are having to pay deductibles if they have flood insurance, and a lot of them lost their vehicles as well. And as you know, most people have a deductible on their vehicle if they have car insurance, and a lot of that money goes to just help them pay those deductibles and pay some of the living expenses as well. So that's another alternative. But please investigate who you're giving the money to and make sure it's going to a worthy source.
And how do they go to the site to donate? Do you know?
Well, for example, the Louisiana Realtors, if you go to larealtors.org, you can do a donation online, and it does not go strictly to realtors. It goes to anybody in the community that needs some of that relief fund. So that's just, again, one area that you can go into, and again, I'm sure there are a lot of other relief funds that have been set up through different organizations and companies and so forth.
David, before I let you go, how about your company, your people? Did some of them get caught too?
They did, Darryl. And when I got on the phone, I did say I was doing well, except I'm in traffic, which, as you can imagine, is Baton Rouge now.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
My house did well. My offices did not flood, but I had about 20 of my agents, 20 of my realtors that did take on water and are having to obviously deal with that issue. And we're trying to help them as much as we can with supplies and donations and so forth. But it's going to take us a while to recover, Darryl. But the people of Baton Rouge and Baton Rouge area, as you know, the people of Louisiana are very resilient. And we'll bounce back. As I told somebody earlier, I was talking to them there in Florida, we love to cook and we love to entertain and we love to watch football. So
yes, you do.
People back in order so they can get in there and entertain, cook, and watch football.
Well, David, our prayers for you, your people, and all of Baton Rouge and southern Louisiana that has been affected. Anything we can do, you let us know. You drive safe, my friend.
Thank you so much, Darryl. And look, I know what y'all went through, and we're going through the same thing, and we'll recover.
Hang in there. We'll be talking to you soon, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you, David. All right. We're going to take a short break. Come back with more of Let's Talk Real Estate. Stay with us, people. We'll be right back.
Looking for a title company to close your next real estate transaction? Call Acadian Title Agency, serving the entire Northeast Louisiana area. Quick closings on all types of loans, including FHA, VA, conventional, rural development, and more, including cash sales. Easy to talk to, straight answers, and experienced service. Call Lori Wiles, loan closing specialist at 812-3434. Owned by Katie Balsamo, attorney. That's 812-3434.
When you find the home that you want to buy, choose the mortgage lender that can help you buy it. Assurance Financial. At Assurance Financial, lending is all they do. They've made it easy by using local appraisers, underwriters, and loan officers. It's home lending the way you like it. Call Assurance Financial at 812-0022 for your next home loan. That's 812-0022. Assurance Financial.
Buying a home? The absolute most important decision in the home buying process is having the home inspected by a qualified licensed inspector. Corey Wright with Corey Wright Inspections is experienced, licensed, and ready to assist you to make sure you are aware of the condition of the home you are buying. Corey is fair, honest, and will give you a quick but thorough assessment of the house you're buying. Don't find out when it's too late. Call Corey Wright at 318-547-7402 and get your property inspected. That's Corey Wright Inspections, 547-7402.
Looking for one of Northeast Louisiana's leading and most experienced real estate agents? Call Craig Morris, a full-time, lifelong resident agent with over 15 years experience. Also, Craig is a member of Coldwell Banker Group 1's coveted Wall of Fame.
Craig Morris here. Call me today at 381-MOVE to discuss a successful strategy that will guide you through your next real estate transaction.
For quality and professional service you can trust, call Craig Morris, 381-6683.
Coldwell Banker Group 1 Realty, 362-0007. Each office independently owned and operated.
Oh, welcome back. Let's talk real estate. The real estate market in Northeast Louisiana is holding very, very steady. We've had those years of too much increase and too much, not much decrease. Only once or twice over the last 10, 15 years have we seen any kind of decrease. 09, I think it dropped less than 1%. 07 maybe 1% or so, but even during the 08 crisis, we've seen some appreciation. Right now, year to date through July, we're up about 2% in total units sold, about 21 units sold throughout Northeast Louisiana. Actual sales price is pretty much the same thing as year to date last year, about $450 million. Average sales price dropped from about $175,000 to about $171,000. Days on the market running about the same, around 135, 138 days. But the real estate market remains very active throughout Northeast Louisiana. I can tell you from 45 years experience, when interest rates are at historic lows for as long as they've been, people are going to buy houses out there. So, Michael, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing just fine. How are you doing, Darryl?
Doing fine. Now, are you in Monroe or are you in Denham Springs?
Well, I'm in Ruston currently.
Okay. Michael LeGros, one of our own agents of Coldwell Banker Group 1 Realty, but from Denham Springs, and you have been spending some time over there, haven't you?
Yes, I actually went down Monday week ago. As soon as the floodwaters had went down, I had I was born and raised in Denham Springs, so I had a lot of family and friends going through it, and I was just sitting back on social media, basically all I could see it all going down, so, I went down Monday to help my family out and help some friends out, basically just, the hardest part getting content out of the house and all. So, I spent a little time down there and, just kind of trying to, get the head start going, get the rebuild process going.
Do you, from what you know of Baton Rouge, do you feel the devastation in Denham Springs is about the same or worse, or?
I would say Denham Springs, look, it was so widespread,
Yes.
Anywhere from Zachary to Central, Baton Rouge, Denham Springs, Watson, Walker. But Denham Springs, and I don't have numbers, but, we're looking at 90% underwater.
Wow. That's...
as far as the city, the businesses are concerned, growing up, my dad always told me, he said, as far as the flooding of our home, he said, Michael, look, if we ever flood, the whole city's going under, but that was the extent of it, and, nobody thought that would happen, but it did.
Well,
and,
Denham Springs will come back, but my goodness gracious, what they're going to have to go through in the coming years to rebuild that city.
Well, I think that, evidence has already shown that, we are unified. We stick together, and that's the real story here. I think the real story is, how everybody pulls together this time, in these times, and I think that will continue to go throughout the process. Now it's going to be hard. You can only imagine, business, and rebuild. There are a lot of people that didn't have insurance, so
yeah,
it's going to be tough.
Devastating. And I've had the privilege to visit with your mother on 2 or 3 occasions from Denham Springs, a broker there, a very successful real estate person in that market, and she buys a lot of homes, investments, and different things. And when I visited with her a few days ago, of course, a lot of the homes that were under contract that buyers were buying, they're just not there now.
No, as you can imagine, most of the properties that were on the market, went temporarily off the market, due to they flooded, but, real estate shut down. You can only imagine, and the homes that are currently on the market that didn't flood, they will move. So it's going to be hard to come back. A lot of my family are, they're into, investment properties and stuff, and a lot of those, they all flooded, without flood insurance. So it's, a lot of that is going to be hard to come back from.
Right. I think we have we've had trailers at our at office for the last number of days, and I think I was told that the supplies in the morning that they're heading out are going directly to Denham Springs.
Okay.
Shannon Harper and Mark Uchley and the people that are I think driving down there. I think they said they were headed to Denham Springs in the morning to support those people. So
well, that's really awesome. It's so I know it warms the hearts of the country to see how many people pull together. I even saw Alabama football team coming down.
Wow. Okay. Now that's hard. That's tough. Dadgummit.
Hey, so we all pulling together.
Yeah, I know.
But they need encouragement as well. They need the steady encouragement, the steady, hey, we can do this. We're here to help you. Through the lows, through the highs. They just need the steady encouragement.
Yeah. Well, Michael, our prayers for you, your family, and again for Denham Springs and all affected in southern Louisiana. But tell your mother we said hi, wish her well, and we'll see you soon. Okay?
Sounds good. Thank you, Darryl.
All right. It's hard to comprehend the level of devastation out there, ladies and gentlemen. It's surprising how many mortgages remain underwater. You wouldn't think when I say underwater, the equity in homes. In the second quarter of 2016, 12% of all homes with a mortgage were underwater. Do you believe that? In the second quarter of 2016 throughout the United States? Now, you've got a lot of states, California, Florida, a lot of states that had problem situations with the too high appreciation. They dropped to nothing. So those are probably account for 60 to 70% of them, but 12% underwater out there. Got them? Okay. And then 12% right now. On average, about 19% of homes valued in the bottom third. Okay, the least expensive third of homes in the United States, 19% of those have negative equity. About 10% of the middle third have negative equity, and about 7% of the top third of value of homes in the United States have negative equities out there. Now, we don't see that much in northeast Louisiana. We're looking at, in fact, I think the figure in Louisiana as a whole is like 4.7% average appreciation this past year, which is pretty good. I kind of go by 3% average appreciation. You keep a home 10 years, you buy a home for $150,000. You keep it 10 years, 30% appreciation, $45,000, $50,000 appreciation, plus the tax deduction that you're getting. When you look at, this is something people don't realize, okay? People say, well, I can rent for, let's say, $800 a month. Well, if your mortgage payment is $800 a month, that mortgage payment is really probably only $600 or $700 a month because the interest portion is deductible. And 25% tax bracket, 25% of that you get back, okay? So you can make a mortgage payment of $900 to maybe $1,000 a month, and that would be equal to an $800 rent payment over the year with the tax benefits that you get on it. So we're going to take a short break, come back with more Let's Talk Real Estate. Stay with us, people.
Are you in the process of buying a new home? Protect your investment by hiring a competent, reliable, and licensed home inspector. Ray Cartwright with Cartwright Home Inspections has been a local resident of Ouachita Parish for 40 years, certified in homes, pools, and spas. Let Ray help give you peace of mind when purchasing the biggest investment you'll probably ever make. Call Ray Cartwright at 318-307-0965. That's 318-307-0965. License number 10966.
For all of your electrical, air conditioning, and heating needs, call Delancey Service Company. Family owned. Jeremy Delancey will give you fair, honest prices from changing light bulbs to installing new air units or rewiring the entire house. Emergency service available 7 days a week with no overtime charges and covering the entire Northeast Louisiana area. Call 376-6928 for the company that can handle all your heating, air, and electrical needs on both residential and commercial property. Delancey Service Company, 376-6928 for service you can trust.
For your next home loan or mortgage refinance, call Tracy Day at AMCAT Mortgage. With 18 years mortgage experience, Tracy Day gives you local, professional, and friendly service. Loan programs include conventional, rural development, FHA, VA, refinance, debt consolidation, and cash-out refinances. For veterans, they also specialize in VA interest rate reduction loans, which require no appraisal, no income verification, and no money out of pocket. If you have an existing VA mortgage, call Tracy to lower your payments. They also give $500 lender credit on all types of loans to support their customers. Call Tracy Day at AMCAT Mortgage, 318-387-1331. That's 318-387-1331.
No need for you to worry, no need for you to fret. Coldwell Banker Group 1, proven to be the best. So if you want to buy or sell, put us to the test. Coldwell Banker Group 1, put your mind at rest.
Call the Monroe office at 361-0300, West Monroe at 362-0007, or the Ruston Group at 255-5302. Each office is independently owned and operated.
And welcome back to Let's Talk Real Estate. Jackie, how you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
You didn't expect this phone call, did you?
Not
we tried to call Shannon, and he was out selling a house. Bless his heart, he needs to, because he's been working like a dog, I'm telling you. But
bless his heart, I know it.
Jackie Guillot, broker with Remax Premier here in Monroe, Louisiana, throughout northeast Louisiana, always had a lot of pride in the Remax name. And, you know, when this happened, Jackie, I saw you out there with the trailer at our office at Coldwell Banker in West Monroe. You called and said, "Can we bring the Remax trailer?" I said, "Bring it on." But you were out there working in that heat all day long, loading stuff, unloading stuff. Shannon was out there. Slagle McGuffey was out there. Some of our agents were out there, Mark Uchley and other ones. It's just a very unified effort. But
it is.
It's just amazing. How many trips? Do you know how many trips they have made or making or anything?
Well, I know that Shannon took one down last week to Baton Rouge. Then he and Slagle and J.R. LaForge took 2 trailers yesterday. Tomorrow they're taking one more trip. I believe it's Mark Uchley and Shannon Harper that's taking the trailer tomorrow back down to Baton Rouge. We're loading up another one for sure. We're hoping that it can go out Friday. If not, it'll go Monday. But it looks like we're going to target the Lafayette area, which is more like the Youngsville area. Right. And what they're doing tomorrow is they're taking the trailer on down, and they're hitting what we're calling the front lines. Instead of taking it to a distribution center and having the people come in and get that, or them trying to get out to the people that are out there working in the community, they're going to take that trailer straight on down. And this one's filled with diapers for children and adults, water, cleaning supplies, school supplies, because those kids lost everything as well, and, trying to get back into school, and food. So that's going straight out. It's not going to a distribution center. And I think they may also go back in town, fill up the trailer from a distribution center or a shelter, and then take it back out there. So they plan on making it a full day tomorrow.
Awesome. It's just amazing, the hard work. So I think we'll still have a trailer at the location tomorrow if people want to come by and drop stuff off still.
Oh, definitely. And we unlock it around 8 o'clock. So if there's not anybody out there, but if you have heavy things, I know that
you can come in, we'll help you.
Somebody inside of the office will help. If there's not anybody out there manning it at that time, it's hard to keep somebody out there at all times. But I know my trailer stays there for storage. And then, and I don't know if J.R. LaForge's trailer will be out there tomorrow or not, but maybe so, because we're filling those up.
Okay.
I believe we actually have stuff still in my trailer. So we're hoping to do this until people don't need it. But the outpouring of the community has been just mind-blowing.
Yeah, all the community, Remax, Keller Williams, Coldwell Banker, all the different companies have jumped in. So, Jackie, they're cutting me off. So thank you so much for your time, your effort, and everything you have done to support this tragedy, okay?
Oh, it's
all right.
My pleasure.
Thank you now. Hey, and thanks for all the prayers out there from my wife, Paula Beasley, not just because she's married to me, but had some surgery this morning. I got her home, and I just want everybody to know that I'm doing just fine. It's really hard. I don't know how to cook or wash dishes or anything, but I'm getting there. But she'll be up and going in a day or two. Thank y'all so much. See you this time next week on Let's Talk Real Estate.
News Talk 105.7 and 540 KMLB Monroe. Online at KMLB.